one page. So one page to most probably for this entry level role, unless you have skills, that's fine, 2 pages, which is not going to happen in 90% of cases. So it is going to be just a single page resume containing your name, your college and your CGPA, your projects that you have done, and the achievements that you have done so far in your college career, right? When you see a role specifically in the career portal, you'll go to Gemini or Claude or something, you'd say, this is my resume, and I want to tailor my resume based on the requirements of this specific role. So that's the first stage. Now, for building your projects, how to use AI as well. I would choose Claude for these type of things because Claude Code is one of the best agents right now when you want to build projects. So what you do is when you have a particular idea, you go to Claude, you explain your idea, and sometimes also explain as deep as you can. So explain yellow screens, what is the complete flow from the time the user logs in till the time the user logs out, what activities is he or she performing on the app or the website. Display, write all of those things, and then try to use it to create your website. So Claude will give you pretty much the template right away. And if you directly go and put your Claude generated website on your resume, it's easy to figure out that this person has just vibe coded it. No change. So what you need to do is make it unique. It should not be like I just say build some normal full stack app. Generic. Try to have an idea that is unique. Try to have your own color combination. Try to have your own features that are not there in other websites and apps. But when somebody opens it, they'll understand that you have made some effort in it. Not something that is copy-pasted. When the Netflix clone, in the WhatsApp clone, YouTube clone, that is good for learning. Your idea should be unique. Your website should look unique. So that when the otherwise it will just get rejected when the recruiter sees it. They will just think that copy. So again, uniqueness is very important. Second thing is deployment. Most of the people when they make the project, local host la pandranga. Local host project panna, as a recruiter or a hiring manager, how am I going to see your project? So host it on some cloud provider. Netlify, cloud service providers, Heroku, that for ₹0 it allows you to host it for 1 month, 2 months. So host your project. When you make a project, don't just build the full stack, don't just build the front end. Use a database, select a stack, build an end-to-end project, and deploy it somewhere on Vercel, on Heroku somewhere, so that recruiters can click on that link and can see your project. One additional thing what you can do is, you can get actual users. The one differentiating factor that I see across all the different interviews that I've conducted across different colleges for these entry-level roles is, in the project, they don't add the real-world use cases. Your project pandringa, who is going to be the user of that project? Even if you can get 5 users on that project who are using your project, you have that data, that is much better than a random project you're adding for the sake of the resume. So try to get an actual user base for that particular project. Try to get some product group, get some feedback, and then iterate on that. At least 5 pair, 10 pair, whoever uses it, get actual users to use your project and add that on the resume. I have 10, 50, 100 users for this particular project, right? So things like that is very important. Now moving forward, the other way you can use these AI-based agents is learn the concept of fine-tuning LLMs based on domain knowledge. There is one easiest thing that everyone does right now is, first, if you don't know that, get started with this, which is API calls to AI agents. Gemini, Claude, agents. So the easiest way to get a response is, I am sending an API call with a question that I have, with a prompt that I have, I get a response back. So try to do that basic thing first. Try to call an API agent or code agent that calls a particular AI agent of your choice with a specific prompt. Get that answer and display it, print it out. Simple. Start out with this. Now you know how to call an AI agent that you can have in your website, basically. Simple. Next, what you do to make it better is understand the concept of fine-tuning. If you are fine-tuning, let's say you want to localize something specific to Tamil Nadu or Erode. You need specific data that is relevant to this demographic location. So, on your AI agent that you have, on your LLM, large language model, you should feed it with information and data that is only localized to this region, so that the responses that it provides is relevant to that region. So let's say E-road let's say bus data இருக்கு, எவ்வளோ டைம் எப்போ பஸ் எங்கே போகுதுன்னு you can easily get that data specific to E-road. இப்போ அந்த டேட்டா உங்க AI ஏஜென்ட்ல நீங்க ஃபைன் டியூன் பண்ணா your AI agent will be hyper localized to E-road specific buses. Let's say you want to build a dashboard related to buses or travel data. You need to again find the local data, train your AI agent on that data, and then test your accuracy. That is one step better because you're not just using a general model. If a Gemini open பண்ணி E-road bus timing என்னன்னா கொடுக்காது because it doesn't have that information. So try to make something new. Get domain specific knowledge, train your LLM on that knowledge, and then make your project even better. This is another way you can use it to build your projects. The third thing I would say is, this is not relevant to AI, and you always need to be on the lookout for competitions that are hosted by these big companies so that you can take part in it. One example na kodukren. Ipo there is Google Summer of Code, which is an open source coding contest of sorts that opens up from March 16th to March 31st. It would start March 7th or March 16th. Now try to find those things. Just like Google Summer of Code, Amazon has something called Summer School. Morgan Stanley has something else. So all of these big companies have their own coding contests and other events that they host where they hire people. So try to look out. Whenever you look at a particular company, first career portal search for the open jobs. Okay. What are the events that the company is hosting? Try to do it. Now, if I talk about Google Summer of Code, what is this? It's around 160 companies that are collaborating with Google that provide a list of projects that you can work on. Let's say you want full stack development pretty good. So you go to the list of 160 companies, you choose a company that works on full stack. If on the company page open பண்ண GitHub ஒரு 4 suggested projects இருக்கும். Project 1, Project 2, Project 3, Project 4. ஒரு பிடிச்ச ப்ராஜெக்ட் செலக்ட் பண்ண அப்புறம் you need to write a project proposal. How are you going to implement that project technically? And you are going to send that to that company. If அந்த company approve ஆனா, you will be part of the selected candidate for Google Summer of Code, and the whole tenure of this project will be around, I think, 6 months or something, and you get around 2 to 4 lakhs if you complete everything. So it's a very good initiative that I think all of you need to try. So select a domain that you like, select a company that works on that domain, look at the suggested project list. Now do some effort, try to think about how you're going to technically implement that project, and then send proposals. Even if you're very new to this, send it out to 3 or 4 companies so that you have that experience of building that technical portfolio. That is another. Now, I'll take a pause. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, continue. ஏதாவது டவுட் இருந்தா கை தூங்குறேன், நான் மைக் கொடுக்குறேன். So any doubts regarding that? Okay, if there are no doubts, we can proceed, but if you guys have even simple doubts, whether it's small or big, just ask it now itself so that you don't have any doubts in the future, right? So try to use the opportunity as best as you can. So again, pause for a minute. If you have no doubts, we can proceed. Any doubts? Okay, if there are no doubts, we can just continue. So, next part of what I want to cover is how does the process change, interview process change with the advent of AI. If a munadi enna aachina process there used to be an online assessment where you are going to get 2 or 3 data structure based problems. And the data structure based problems you qualify panna, next we go to the elimination phase called the phone screening phase. If a phone screening is a virtual interview where an interviewer from the company asks you questions based on data structures and algorithms, typically 2 or 3 questions they would ask you based on data structures and algorithms. That's the phone screen. Other qualify panna, you reach a next stage called the on-sites. On-sites na, it will be a set of 4 rounds. And the 4 rounds, the rend round again will be based on data structures and algorithms. 1 round based on behavioral, and 1 round either a domain specific round or a manager round, whatever it is based on the company. So DSA is still extremely important. இப்போ AI நால என்ன changes வந்திருக்குன்னு சொல்றேன். Because of AI, we have found out that a lot of candidates are cheating in the interviews as well. So cheating கூட ஜாஸ்தியா இருக்கு when you do these virtual interviews. When you do these virtual interviews, some candidates try to masquerade as someone else. Otherwise, they are trying to use these cheating tools and stuff like that. If other avoid pannathukku, the first change that these FANG companies did is they are making at least 1 to 2 rounds compulsory in the office campus. So munadi, instead of having it virtually on Zoom or on Google Meet or something else, they will call you to office and they have a whiteboard where you're going to explain the problem. Instead of just writing the code, you have a whiteboard where you can draw and explain whatever you want. That is one change that all the companies are doing, whether it's Apple or Google. At least 1 or 2 rounds will be in the office. You know, office can be munadi irundha, I know that person is not cheating. Next is, they're also, so that is one negative side of AI, right? Where they're trying to copy everything. But the companies still want you to have a good knowledge about AI. So what they also did is, they added a new round called AI-enabled round. So a lot of companies added a new AI-enabled round where for the problem that they give you, they want you to share your screen, use AI and build a solution for that in those 1 hour, 1 hour 30 minutes. That is the additional round that they added. Where they say, okay, ஒரு problem statement கொடுப்பாங்க, அந்த 1 hour to 1 hour 30 minutes நீங்க share screen பண்ணிட்டு, you need to show the interviewer how are you going to use AI to solve that particular problem, right? So 2 changes again I repeat pandren. 1, in-person interviews have increased. Second, AI rounds have increased, where you have to use AI to solve problems. Now again, do you guys have any doubts in anything that I mentioned so far? Guys, any doubts regarding the interview process? Illana எப்படி இந்த மாதிரி interview பண்ணனும், இல்ல what are the new changes? I want to make this interactive.
Sir, we all know AI can't replace humans, but AI overcomes a human. If it's possible, the humans are not like robot or how we treat AI in future. AI வந்து நம்மள ரீப்ளேஸ் பண்ணாது, ஆனால் ஓவர் கம் பண்ணுவோம். ஸோ ஏஐ நம்மள ஃபியூச்சரில் நம்ம ஏஐ ட்ரீட் பண்ண மாதிரி நம்மள ஏஐ ட்ரீட் பண்ணுவோம்.
I'll repeat the question again. So the question is, we know AI cannot replace humans, but AI can overcome humans. So in the future, what if AI treats us the way we treat it? Correct? That's the question. So again, AI is not going to replace humans the way it is right now, but it can replace certain jobs. For example, let's say you are a front-end developer, or let's say your only knowledge is one specific basic knowledge about something. Then AI can definitely replace those jobs. For example, what a front-end developer, like a very basic front-end developer who's a junior grad used to do earlier is, they used to take a design in something called Figma, which is a pictorial representation of how you want your website or app to look. Then based on that, they used to code the front-end on HTML or CSS. Now that task can easily be done by Gemini or Claude or whatever AI or LLM that you choose, it can do that job easily. That is the first part. There are certain skills that are going to become obsolete because of how AI is going to get. That is not going to change. So that is one correction there. Some jobs you need, now if you're a front-end developer, you need to know more. If you know domain knowledge, if you're strong in your domain, then AI is not going to replace you. If you specifically have basic level knowledge, then your job is still at risk. Therefore, those kind of jobs. That is one thing. Second, in the future, how will AI treat us? That goes into the purview of AGI, or artificial generative intelligence, and we are very far away from that right now. So if you see Sam Altman or other people saying it, we are still extremely far away from AGI. So AI has conscience or those things right now, so it is not going to treat us in any way. It just continues to do whatever like we tell it. So Skynet, Terminator, Marla, Ipudika, Hale, and it's not going to happen in the future also for the remaining at least 5 to 10 years. So we're safe in that aspect that it's not going to turn on us or anything else. So that's answer to that. Any other questions? So any questions, guys? Come on. I want to make this as like interactive as I can. So any questions that you have regarding the company process or anything else, just raise your hand. I will get it clear now, sir.
Sir, excuse me, sir. Sir, there is a thing called white coding, right? Like, will that replace traditional coding in near future or something?
Yeah. So, like I mentioned earlier, vibe coding right now is just using an LLM to basically fulfill a particular. You can sit down. Using LLMs to basically fulfill a certain project or idea that you have. It is not going to replace conventional coding because, for example, I'll give you an example where vibe coding failed. Right? There was this company in the United States, that is a startup, that used vibe coding to fulfill a particular idea. The idea was women's safety right now is very much compromised in United States and other countries. They use Claude and other LLMs to vibe code a website that basically before women go out and meet men or they go for dating apps or these things, it verifies the identity of the men to make sure that they have no criminal history and other things. Which is a good idea per se, to make sure that before you go meet someone, they're verifying the identity and the criminal history of the person. On paper, it was a great idea. Now, when they implemented this, around 1 million women signed up for this particular app. It was completely vibe coded. The issue that happened was because it was vibe coded and the persons who were implementing that were not aware of the technical constraints, a hacker got access to that information and 1 million women's information got leaked. So that is the reason why I'm saying that vibe coding, pure vibe coding cannot replace normal coding because it is still not at the level of implementing encryption and safety standards that normal security teams and other developers do. Now, if your only use case is building vanilla HTML, CSS, JavaScript websites, then vibe coding is totally fine for that, no issues. But if you want to build an end-to-end app with enterprise-grade security and protection, trying to scale to 1 million users, vibe coding is very far off there. So again, like I mentioned, get the necessary domain knowledge, end-to-end knowledge to avoid things like that from happening. That's what I would say. Any other questions?
Sir, I have a question. What are the qualifications required to start a career in AI? What the company expecting from us?
Yeah. So the question is, what is the company expecting from a fresher before they start their career? It's a good question. The company wants to know whether you can work with AI. So as long as you build good AI projects that are not copied, you can show to them that you understand the basics of, let's say, large language models, you understand the basics of fine-tuning. You build certain projects based on those LLMs that is sufficient for you to get your foot in the door. You can tell a company that what is the difference between you and someone else who's applying for that AI startup or company. The difference is you have built projects based on those things that real people use, like I mentioned at the starting, right? Build projects, build those localized projects that are fine-tuned, or build general projects using LLMs, and get active users for those projects and deploy them for other people to see. That is a differentiator. As to what the company expects basic knowledge of you using the LLMs to build their projects. That's it. That's what. Any other questions? The reason I kept my initial presentation small is because I want to make this more interactive rather than me talking for 2 hours. So if you have any question, just raise your hand and just get it cleared, right?
Sir, does the big company, big tech placements expect the complex problems for project, complex technologies or real world problems? What they expect?
Yeah. So the question is, do big tech companies expect complex problems or real world projects that solve things? So I would say your priority should always be building things that solve a particular problem. So that real world scenario is the one that's the most important thing. Now if you're building something complex that no one is going to use, but you learn something deep in it, it's good for your knowledge, but not good for big tech or companies or something else. So those things that are complex you build so that you understand stuff. But if you want to showcase something in your resume or you want to show something to get your foot into the big tech companies, it's always 100 times better if you have a project that solves a real world scenario. So that's what I expected. Any other questions?
AI
So the question is, இப்போ AI யூஸ் பண்ணிட்டு வேலை பண்ணுறது and AI காப்பி பண்ணிட்டு வேலை பண்ணுறதுல என்ன டிஃபரன்ஸ்? Now I would say in the future all the people are going to be using AI. A lot of companies right now already leverage AI to do their work. The difference between copying AI and using AI is understanding how it works. For example, if you just copy AI, then the meaning is whatever the AI gives, let's say you give it a problem statement, you want to build a website. The AI gives you code. You take that code, you put it somewhere, you deploy it, means you're copying AI. You don't understand anything that happens. You take whatever is there, you deploy it and done. Now using AI means you look at the code that the AI has generated, you find faults in it, you fine tune on the errors, you make it more robust, and in case in the future if issues happen, you are capable of fixing those issues in the future as well. So that is the difference between copying and using. Using you're understanding end to end so that you're able to debug the issues in the future also. And if the AI is missing something, which can happen, AI is not 100% perfect. If the AI misses something, you are having that knowledge to prompt the AI to do better. You're telling it, this is not what I expect, change it. That can only happen when you understand. Any other questions?
Students, if you feel language as your barrier, please feel free to ask your questions in Tamil. I repeat, students, if you feel language as your barrier, please feel free to ask your doubts in Tamil.
இங்க நீங்க எந்த லாங்குவேஜ்ல கேட்கலாம், நீங்க தமிழ்ல கேட்கலாம், கன்னடால கேட்கலாம், தெலுங்குல கேட்கலாம், ஹிந்தில கேட்கலாம், 4 லாங்குவேஜ் தெரியும். எந்த லாங்குவேஜ் தயவு செஞ்சு கேளுங்க, நான் கிளியர் பண்றேன்.
Students, please maintain silence.
Any doubts? Come on. It's silent and if you have any doubts, you can raise it. Within 20 to 30 minutes, we can wrap up. If you basically ask the doubts that you want. So if you have anything that, even if you think it's a small doubt or something, make sure to get it cleared now, so that you have a clarity about what to do in the future. Everyone silence? Doubt in that? So doubt in that கேளுங்க first. 20 நிமிஷத்துக்கு அப்புறம் நீங்க எவ்வளவு பேசணும் பேசலாம் நண்பர்கள் கூட.
சார் இப்போ கோடிங் தான் ஆப் அதை கிரியேட் பண்ணுறோம். இப்போ ஏஐங்கிறது என்ன லாஜிக் யூஸ் பண்ணி நம்ம அதை திங்க் பண்ண வந்துடும், அது என்ன கோட் யூஸ் பண்ணுறோம், ஏஐ கிரியேட் பண்ணுறதுக்கு நம்ம என்ன கோட் யூஸ் பண்ணுறோம் சார்?
Okay. The question is, நம்ம AI யூஸ் பண்ணிட்டு கோட் கிரியேட் பண்றோம். இப்போ அந்த AI எப்படி நம்ம கிரியேட் பண்றோம் உங்களுக்கு கரெக்ட்டா? இப்போ see, to understand how AI is built, it's a very good question. இப்போ நம்ம AI யூஸ் பண்றோம், Gemini, ChatGPT எல்லாம் யூஸ் பண்றோம். How is that built? இப்போ ஒரு நல்ல சேனல் இருக்கு ஆண்ட்ரே கர்பாத்தின்னு. ஸோ ANDREJKARPATHY ஆண்ட்ரே கர்பாத்தின்னு ஒரு யூடியூப் சேனல் இருக்கு. அவர் என்ன பண்ணாருன்னா he basically goes through the step-by-step process of you building your mini chat GPT just using Python. So the underlying concepts that are used are neural networks. So if you ask me, FD panaduna, it is basically nothing but a neural network and backpropagation is used. So those are the basic things. If you want to build something like ChatGPT or a tokenizer by your own, on the channel ponga, he has like a 2-hour video where from scratch, we get a money from scratch just using normal Python basics or a mini GPT create pandra. So you go watch that video, you'll understand. But again, the core concepts are just core machine learning concepts, which are neural networks and backpropagation. Any other notes?
Sir, next 5 years la எந்த கோர்ஸ் வந்து டிமாண்டிங்கா போகும் கம்பெனிஸ் எந்த இது வந்து ரொம்ப டிமாண்டிங்கா இருக்கு?
So question is, in the coming 5 years, what course will be more demanding that the companies expect? So right now, I would say AI is something called the great leveler, which is regardless of what course you, everyone silence? Silence.
Students maintain silence.
Ipo, the question is, in the future, what course would be needed to get shortlisted or what do the companies expect? Now, because of the advent of AI, I would say the course does not matter. If you're a mechanical engineering student or a computer science student, you're a BCS student or a BTech student, it doesn't matter. You know, at the end of the day, using AI, using your own knowledge, you can end up building the same thing that people from other disciplines are building. So the course will not matter. Computer science is still a strong course. If you're doing ME or doing something else, doesn't matter. I would say what matters is the course for the duration left. How are you using your time? What projects are you building? What are you learning? That is much more important. For 5 varshathile, I believe that the focus will shift more from are you from a computer science background to what have you done in your time in BTech or bachelor's or BCA, whatever it is, right? Unga time vechi neenga enna pandringa? What type of projects are you building? What sort of knowledge are you holding? Are you able to convert your ideas into code? Because that's what companies care about. They don't care about if you computer science background irukingla, ME background irukingla. You have the skills to convert their projects into code and implement their ideas. That's what is more important. Future. Any other questions?
Sir, using AI tools for preparing our interview makes it efficient or else it will reduce our problem solving ability, sir?
Yes, that's a good question. If we want to use AI to prepare for interview prep, it's okay. You can definitely use AI for interview prep. That's no problem at all. But you should not depend on it. Every single time if you use the AI tools for preparing, then your thinking capabilities will be reduced. So what you do is first ஒரு problem எடுங்க. Let's say lead code la போறீங்க, ஒரு DSA problem select பண்றீங்க. Have a time of 15 to 20 minutes where you're just thinking about the problem without the help of AI or anything else. Once you have a solution, let's say the wrong answer varudhu illana time limit exceeded varudhu, then put that onto AI and ask enna na thappu pandra explain pannunga. Now once you have that, reiterate again, think for 10 minutes and then use AI again. Don't be completely dependent on AI. Like someone else asked a good question, don't copy from AI, use AI to make your life better. So using understanding what it says instead of blindly depending on it. So keep a time frame where you're thinking for yourself, use it just to point mistakes in your code and make your code better rather than just asking it in the logic kudunga, code kudunga nu kekanga. That's what I was. Any questions?
சைபர் செக்யூரிட்டி ஃபீல்டில் ஏங்க சார் ஹேக்கிங் ஏஐ யூஸ் பண்ண மாட்டேங்குது?
ஸோ இப்போ சைபர் செக்யூரிட்டியில் மல்டிபிள் லெவல்ஸ் are there. You can do penetration testing, you can do defensive hacking and multiple things. அந்த சைடில் AI, you're right, that AI is not being used a lot in those areas because the way you do that is, and the entry barrier konjam jaasti. For example, if I ask you guys, can you do SQL penetration or can you do this cross-site scripting? Na, mere per inga panna mudiyadhu because the entry barrier is a bit higher. You can use AI to make your life easier in the sense that enna commands inga run pandringa, vulnerability testing enna pandringa. You can automate a few things with AI there as well. But the main way that cyber security and hacking and those things work is the knowledge of the person doing it. Now, if you have knowledge about the basics, you know how to do pen testing, you know how to do cross-site scripting, you know all of these things, then you can use AI to make your life easier. It can definitely be used in those areas as well. Let's say to optimize your queries, to give you certain vulnerabilities by giving the source code of the website. They use for that. But the main problem is people are not aware right now itself. The entry barrier just to get into those fields. So what I would suggest is first, understand the basics of cybersecurity, understand the different types of vulnerabilities that can be exploited in different websites, start on using that, get really good in the domain knowledge of cybersecurity, and then try to think about how to use AI. And AI could use case when. Why are you using AI? It's not just AI you can use for knowledge. So understand the domain knowledge and you'll start getting ideas about how to make your cybersecurity hacking easier using AI.
I have read an article that Elon Musk said coding will be dead by end of 2026. So if common people learned about AI agent and by the use of it, they build projects. So whether it will decrease the employment category in software tech world.
The question is, Elon Musk said that by XXX year, coding will be dead. And if normal people, non-software engineers get the idea to build websites and are able to do that successfully, will the number of coding jobs or tech jobs decrease in the future? So I would say certain families of jobs would get affected in the sense, like I said, if some people who are junior developers are blindly coding or blindly copying what people used to earlier, they used to copy from Stack Overflow. Other AI copy panalo, Stack Overflow and the copy panalo, same. So those type of people will get affected for sure. Now the second thing is coding will be dead by 2026, 2027 because again, the people who are building the AI are humans only right now. AI is not at that level where it writes itself. Anthropic, which is the company that owns Claude, opened up a role last week in the US where they paid $500K for an AI engineering role, which is $500,000 for 1 year for that role. So it's definitely not dying anytime soon. If a coding will not die. Certain jobs will go, certain more jobs will come up. So the AI related jobs will increase and maybe those grunt work or testing related jobs will reduce. So as a software engineer, you still have enough scope or enough different jobs. So you always need to be open as a software engineer to learn new domains and pivot technologies. So the number of jobs net would be more because AI will create more opportunities than it takes. Any questions? Guys, any questions?
Sir, what is your opinion or advice to the freshers? How to pass the interview and place the company to the freshers? Sir, what is your opinion or advice to the freshers to place the interview and company?
The question is, what would be my advice for people trying to crack companies or crack the interviews of companies or AI specific companies? So there are two parts of this. If you're going for an interview at an AI specific company, like I mentioned, you need to have projects built using AI already. You need to have the domain knowledge to fine-tune AI and other things. That is expected if you're going for an AI engineering role. You need to know what are neural networks. You need to know what is backpropagation. You need to understand what is fine-tuning. You need to understand how to build stuff with AI. You cannot just say, I'm going to Claude, I'm typing something, getting output. That is not AI engineering, right? AI engineering is understanding the output and if needed, you modifying that if possible, right? So you need end-to-end understanding. That is one thing. Now, if for normal companies, data structures and algorithms are still the number one skill to learn right now, because even though it's a lot of the CEOs said that lead coding is obsolete, DSA is obsolete right now. Every single top company, whether it's Netflix, Apple, Google, Microsoft or Amazon, all of the top companies still use lead code and data structure problems at least in 2 out of their 4 rounds right now for new grad roles. So for those type of companies, you need to still be really good at data structures and algorithms. Along with that, you're going to upskill yourself on AI and LLMs and fine tuning and neural networks and these things. That's it.
What is your opinion on AI bubble burst?
So the question is opinion on AI bubble burst. So yeah, a lot of people used to say that Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, used to say that AGI is near. AGI is artificial generative intelligence, where a AI does almost everything the same as a human, where it's indistinguishable which one is an AI, which one is a human. That is very, very far away right now. That is one thing. Second, like someone else mentioned, Elon Musk and other CEOs, they say that okay, by this year, coding will be dead. Coding is definitely not going to be dead anytime soon. So in that sense, the AI bubble has already burst. People have been saying from 2022, 2023 that by 2026, we are going to get AGI, we are going to get no coding jobs and stuff like that. In that sense, it has burst. Where it's relevant is AI is going to make an end user make it really easy for an end user to develop websites that real people use. I'll give you an example. A surgeon who's in Kansas, I believe, in the United States, used Claude Code and his domain knowledge based on hospitals and based on his 10 years of experience to build a website that he has no knowledge of coding. He built a website on his own that had real medical knowledge, real medical data, and he earned around $10,000 in a month by just doing that. So the barrier of entry is much lower in the sense that if you know your domain, if you know how to use AI, you can build websites that millions of people can use from the comfort of your home. So it's going to create more opportunities in that. So that will never burst. That will just keep getting better and better as the models get better. So that is not going to go. But in the sense that you're going to get AGI, you're going to get AI replacing humans, I would say that is the part where the AI bubble has already burst. Because that's not going to happen anytime soon. Guys, last set of questions. So I'm going to wrap up in 10 minutes. So any other questions that you guys have?
Students allotted for panel discussion, kindly ask your questions.
ஏஐல நமக்கு கிடைக்கிற எல்லா கொஸ்டின்ஸும் கரெக்டான கொஸ்டின் நம்மளால சொல்ல முடியாது. ஏன் நம்ம ஏஐ வந்து ஜென்ரேட் பண்ணுது, ஏன் அது 100% கரெக்டான கொஸ்டினா ஜென்ரேட் பண்ண மாட்டேங்குது? சார் நம்ம என்ன கொஸ்டினா இருந்தாலும் ஏஐல காலேஜ்ல இருந்து ப்ராஜெக்ட் ஒர்க்ல இருந்து எல்லாமே போடுறோம். ஏன்னா அது 100% ஒரிஜினல் நம்ம சொல்ல முடியாது. ஏன் அந்த மாதிரி?
The question is, if AI நம்ம யூஸ் பண்றோம், இப்போ why is it always not accurate? இப்போ ஏன் தப்பா ஆன்சர் கொடுக்கிறது and things like that. So AI at the end of the day is trained by human data. நீங்க இப்போ AI தானா யோசிக்கிறது இல்ல. How is it trained? Based on human data. Let's say one specific domain where you have very less knowledge. Let's say இங்க ஈரோட்ல உங்க சப்ஜெக்ட் இருக்கு, ஏதோ சப்ஜெக்ட், அந்த சப்ஜெக்ட்ல ரொம்ப லோக்கலைஸ் சப்ஜெக்ட் உங்களுக்கு தான் தெரியும். Let's say it is not according to global standards, something specific to this college. இப்போ அந்த காலேஜ் அந்த சப்ஜெக்ட்ல நீங்க AI பத்தி क्वेश्चन கேட்டீங்கன்னா there is a high chance of getting a wrong answer. So as long as the domain knowledge on which the AI has been trained is corrupted or you don't have enough data, AI is not going to be able to give you good answers for that topic. But the problem is AI has been trained on data from, I would say, for example, GPT is trained with 2024 or 25, 26. இப்போ 10 வருஷமோட இன்டர்நெட் டேட்டாவோட ட்ரெயின்டா இருக்கு. So that is the reason why it is so good, because it's been trained on years of human history. But specific topics where it does not have enough knowledge, it's called hallucination. Hallucinate பண்ணறது AI. Let's say certain code also. இப்போ நான் something proprietary to Microsoft, if I ask it, it is going to hallucinate and give me some random answer. AI, most cases, sollade, I don't know this answer. AI is based on a generative conversational model. Generative model, if it doesn't know something, it tries to make up something based on its knowledge. Adu enna make up pannadho, sometimes it might right, sometimes it might be wrong, which is why you need to understand what it's generating rather than just believing it.
Sir, what differentiates the selected candidates from rejected ones, sir?
This is a good question. what differentiates selected candidates from rejected candidates? So, everyone listen here, just last 10 minutes and then you guys can go, just listen. Quiet. Okay, so the question is, selected candidates ko rejected candidates ko difference in hai. If a particular person has been rejected, it means that what are the candidates graded upon? Every candidate is graded upon 4 things. How well are you communicating? How well written is your code? How readable is your code? How optimal is your code? Are you able to debug? Does the code have any obvious mistakes, silly mistakes? Say, code then. So again, I'll repeat. Communication. You communicate based on your thought process, based on the logic of the problem. How is your communication? Are you asking clarifying questions? Are you asking enough questions? Or are you just rushing into coding? Many candidates they just rush into coding. That's not the right way. You need to ask questions before you even code. Communication is important. Then, your code readable good variable naming, not A, B, C and stuff. Good variable naming. Comments code there. Next step, code optimality. Code the optimal there is a brute force solution for a problem, there is an optimal solution. Code, is it closer to the optimal solution or a brute force solution? How well are you debugging your code? Once you written your code, are you able to debug and find those mistakes without an interviewer telling you that what is wrong? So on the null metrics you will be graded. Now there are some candidates who do really well in debugging, but they don't write the code well and they end up getting rejected. For a new grad role, for these specific roles, these are the only 4 factors by which you will be evaluated. So communication, code clarity and readability, code optimality and debugging. You need to be good at all of these 4 factors to crack that placement. So wherever you are weak, you need to go back and practice on them.
ஏஐ வந்ததுலேருந்து ஜாப்ஸ் வந்து அந்த கம்பெனிஸ்லாம் ஏஐ வச்சே அவங்க ஒர்க் பண்ண ஆரம்பிச்சிட்டாங்க. வருங்காலத்தில் நம்மளுக்கு வேலை இருக்குமா இருக்கா?
வருங்காலத்தில் ஏஐனால ஜாப்ஸ் இருக்குமா இல்லையா? So I would say definitely in the future jobs இருக்கும். But again, certain jobs will be deprecated. Certain jobs that AI can do better. There used to be நாங்க மைக்ரோசாஃப்ட்ல இருக்கும்போது there used to be a team that tests the products. இப்போ நான் ஒரு ஆப்ல வேலை பண்றேன். அந்த ஆப் சரியா work பண்ணதா இல்லையான்னு before every major release that we do to millions of users, we had a specific team of 10 people whose only job was to run 200 test cases on that app to check whether all the functionality is working or not. That whole team has been automated. You can run it through AI. You can just run all the test suite, 200 test cases. If one on the app evaluate and it gets run. You don't need 20 people to run that. So those type of jobs should be deprecated. But on the contrary, you will get jobs related to AI. For AI engineering, prompt engineering, fine tuning engineer. These type of roles will increase. AI related roles will increase proportional to the jobs that it takes away also. So if you have a job that does not require a lot of knowledge, that requires you repeating a set of tasks over and over again, those type of tasks AI can easily automate. If you are in a job that requires you to use your brain, AI cannot take that away very soon.
Good afternoon, sir. So how can freshers improve themselves to crack AI and software jobs?
How do developers upskill themselves to crack software engineering jobs and AI jobs? To crack software engineering jobs, you need to know data structures and algorithms. You need to practice medium level questions on lead code. You need to know arrays, graphs, trees, all of the dynamic programming, recursion, all of those things, right? Basic things. Now, to crack AI related jobs, you need to basically, again, know how to use AI and not just copy whatever the AI spits out. The thing is, everyone, last 5 minutes, quiet. So, again, how do you practice these things? In order to crack software engineering jobs, you're going to go to lead code, you're going to practice. To practice AI related things, I would say Kaggle, Kaggle, is a good site to practice machine learning competitions where you're going to use these LLMs or prompt engineering to solve certain challenges. So go register on these websites, participate in challenges, solve problems, and upskill yourself in both of those things.
Sir, you think that AI will create new jobs or reducing them?
Yeah, the same thing again, where I believe that AI will be creating jobs and taking away jobs both. If you are in a job, in a simple testing job, or you are in a job that does not require a lot of thinking, AI is definitely possible to automate those jobs using AI. If you're in a job, let's say you're a back-end developer. If you're a back-end developer right now, AI is not at that stage where it spits out queries that can handle or scale to millions of users on its own. So you're safe in that job. As long as you're in a job that requires you to use your brain, it is not you just following a list of 10 steps over and over again. Testing na, or 10 test cases, you're just running those 10 test cases on an app. That is basically you acting as an algorithm. The Nida algorithm, you're running 10 test cases over and over again every day. That can be automated. If you are using your knowledge to optimize something, then your job is still safe. Even if your job goes, let's say, due to AI, AI will create equal opportunities in its own space. So upskill yourself on AI and gain domain-specific knowledge in whatever you're working on. If you're a really good full-stack engineer, a really good mobile developer, a really good cloud engineer, AI cannot replace you if you have domain knowledge. Learning DSA, we are learning all these AI. Job join panaprom, what type of job will we do? So it depends on the company. So the company process for new grads for big companies is you are going to solve DSA to get into the company. Once you get into the company, you can be a machine learning engineer, you can be a full stack developer, you can be a mobile developer based on the company's need. So you need to be open enough to learn any new tech stack that is according to the company's need. That is what is important. So the DSA is called the leveling factor because everyone, regardless of location, or the US, I've interviewed both of those folks. If I interview you or I interview someone in UK or US, the questions and the type of questions will be the same. So that is why DSA is there, because overall, everybody is getting the same type of questions. Once you get in the company, based on the company, you get asked to learn whatever tech stack that the company has. A lot of times companies have internal tech stacks also.
Sir, what's one generative AI use case to focus on? What's a generative AI use case to focus on today?
Yeah, so I would say again, like I mentioned, in order to understand chatbots and generative AI end to end, first go to any YouTube channel that builds, let's say, a GPT or a tokenizer from scratch. Try to understand that, right? Once you understand the end-to-end workings of a generative AI model, you can use that for anything that you are passionate about. Now, you're passionate about climate, about mobile, about whatever it is, you need to figure out a project. It can be anything. It can be related to cloud, it can be related to full stack, it can be related to an environmental cause, like I mentioned, related to safety, related to other things, traffic. The opportunities are endless. The goal for you is to understand generative AI end-to-end so you can apply it to an industry that you're interested in. So that's what it is. Best AI tool to use for coding, I would say Claude Code is good. For image generation, Nano Banana from Gemini is. So it depends. So I would say Claude for coding, Nano Banana for images, and ChatGPT for general information.
Students, please be silent.
Let us assume that if you are a final year student today, then how would you prepare for the off-campus interviews in this AI era?
So I'll tell you what I did when I was a final year student. I did the same thing. I learned DSA. I solved a lot of problems. I practiced mock interviews. I practiced solving within the time frame of each question. If you solve it within 20 minutes, then you're in a good position. I would continue doing the same thing. Along with that, I would now, let's say, go on Kaggle. I would try to understand neural network basics. I would try to understand backpropagation. For a GPT, எப்படி work பண்ணுறது, எப்படி tokenize ஆகுது, how is it working internally, I'll try to understand, and I'll build one or two projects based on AI and fine-tuning it for my use case. That's all that I would do extra. I would continue learning DSA, but along with that, I would learn AI as well.
Sir, but nowadays AI can solve the DSA problems, even some system design answers also you can do. So that way, how can the candidate demonstrate their original thinking in the interviews?
So here's where people make a mistake. It's a good question, but I'll tell you the policy here. Always, let's say you're solving a DSA question. If AI was not there, there used to be websites like Career Cup, there used to be websites like Stack Overflow, where the answers to that question were already available, right? So the AI is trained on human data. Some human has solved some type of problem in the past, which is why AI is able to do it. So that human data always existed. There is not anything new. But nobody in the past came and told us, in Stack Overflow, in the question of the answer, okay, how will I demonstrate my knowledge? Your knowledge is demonstrated on how well you're using your ability to, in that time frame of 60 minutes or 30 minutes, on the unknown question, using your knowledge, how will you solve it? Right? That's a custom. So, let's say some domain specific experts who are coming there, how are they doing it? You can also Google those answers and get it. But with experience, your knowledge differs. So all you're getting evaluated on in the interviews on the 30 to 40 minutes there, on an unknown question, using a basic understanding of data structure and algorithm, are you able to use it to solve it? That's how you show your skills.
Full-stack பதிலா bold AI வருது சார். Full-stackல developers job market கம்மியாகும்.
Full stack developer, I'd say the job is still very much active. Nothing will happen to full stack developers because again, if it was just front end, it will be a little bit of risk because if it's full stack and integrated everything, nothing is going to happen there. You know, back end development is still very much safe from AI. Yeah, the integration part is still AI can't do it, but again, like I mentioned, the security aspect, the payment aspect, and things like that, AI still fails there. And it's not very good. So it should be fine. I don't think a job will go away soon.
Sir, could you share your software engineer journey, sir?
I can quickly go over that. So, I joined as a business technology analyst at Deloitte. Then I worked there for a year. I got interview calls from Microsoft and Google. At that point, I was not aware of how to crack the interview. They were all off-campus opportunities. And on campus, the average placement was 4 lakhs per annum at that time. So I went ahead, interviewed at Microsoft. I failed. I interviewed at Google. I failed the first time. So the cool down period for 6 months. In those 6 months, I understood why I failed. I kind of did a lot of coding in that aspect, a lot of things that I'm missing in my practice. And then I interviewed for Microsoft, Google, and Amazon after 6 months, and I got all 3 of those offers. So that's quickly one. So last 2 questions. I don't want to take more. So.
First purpose of implementing the AI. Purpose of implementing the AI. Where the data is placed.
Okay, good point. So when they first build the AI, where is it getting the data and where is it analyzing the data, right? That's your question. So first when they created AI, where is the data collected from? And how do they analyze it? AI is trained over internet history of multiple years. So if you look at the internet history, you have a lot of years of data, right? A lot of unstructured data over multiple years. So the first time AI was built, let's say ChatGPT, was trained over the corpus of the entire internet history for multiple years. That's how they did it. That's already available. As you know, you can get the internet history for multiple years also, no problem there. So, and you have multiple books, you have multiple open source things. It is trained on internet activity of millions of users. So what is your specific question?
Where the data analyzing, where the data connected.
thank you for your insightful speech. Your guidance has given us clarity, confidence, and motivation to prepare better for our careers. We are truly grateful for your valuable time and inspiring words. As we come to the end of this insightful session, we would like to invite Ms. Kirtana Meenakshi from 3rd BSc areas to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon to all. It is our distinct honor to propose a vote of thanks to our esteemed third keynote speaker, Mr. Atreya Uppili Sriram sir, SWE2 at Google, Bangalore, for this insightful session on the off-campus interview process. Sir, it is our privilege to thank you for this truly interactive and lively session. We have no words to thank you for engaging us with such clarity, energy, and enthusiasm. The discussion was not only informative but also thought-provoking and very inspiring. Sir, the way to connect with the audience and encourage active participation made the session both meaningful and memorable. On behalf of everyone present here, we extend our heartfelt thanks for making this session so engaging and impactful. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Kirtana Meenakshi, for delivering the vote of thanks and adding charm to this occasion. As we conclude this meaningful event, let us express our respect and pride for our nation by standing together for national anthem. We now invite Ms. Ruby to sing the national anthem.
पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलति तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जाहे तव शुभ आशीष माहे गाहे तव शय गादा जन